Test 1, 2, 3.
Test in 1, 2, 3.
Coffee Talks. Are we live?
I can't. Hi, friends. Welcome back to Coffee Talks episode. Today, it is your host, Dr. Ciara Dimou, and I am on a solo episode today. My co-host, Miss Gabrielle Russo, is out on the town, going to all the show-ins in Boston, being a bigwig real estate agent, Gabrielle Russo Realty. So today you have me just to yourself. And today we are doing a deep dive on what personal care is to you and what does self-care actually truly mean. Because a lot of the time social media portrays this, self-care means getting a monthly facial or doing a mask at home or making a healthy meal, but it actually goes much deeper and it's always not so pretty. So today we're going to talk about what true self-care means to embody that healthy spirit that keeps us from getting burnt out. So if you feel like you're multitasking, or if you feel like you're doing something for everybody else, but you're the one that's getting burnt out and you're filling everyone else's cup but your own, then this episode is for you. And we're going to talk about how to handle that and things that have worked for myself personally. So let's talk about the self-care illusion and what self-care actually isn't. Let's talk about the illusion of self-care and what it's portrayed to be, which is ice rolling every night or doing an LED mask, which is super important. And I do all of that as well, but it's kind of like messy bed, messy head. So what's going on the outside has to reflect what's going on in the inside. You can do all the self-care habits, but if what's going on inside truly isn't reflective of what's happening outside, then it will never be an actual self-care journey. And so for me, one of the hardest things about self-care and self-actualization was learning how to set boundaries. And it's something that I struggle with a lot, something that I've been in therapy for, something that I've read a lot of books on. Shout out to Find Boundaries, Find Peace, which was super helpful, super easy to read, and actually had workbook exercises in it. That was really helpful. But it's something that I have to take notes on and reflect on those notes pretty much daily. And self-care for me in that essence says or shows me saying no without actually or dealing with the guilt of saying no, but not feeling bad for it and not changing your decision. Because what I've learned about setting boundaries and about this guilt emotion is that you're still going to feel guilty. It's just about how you process that guilt. Because what my therapist has told me is that guilt is that little kind of like little birdie on the shoulder that's just saying, oh, change your mind, change your decision. It wants to persuade you from what your gut told you. And that's where, honestly, there's no easy way to deal with it besides just sit in it. And I've definitely got better at sitting in the guilt of it. And for me, guilt is like a huge emotion. I feel guilty for everything, but you wouldn't really know that because I process it much better than I used to, but just being able to say no with no explanation needed, like just no. You don't have to over-explain it. You don't have to justify it. Being able to say no and no is a complete sentence is such a win for me. And like I said, it's something that I'm still improving, but I've definitely gotten better at maintaining that healthy boundary. And when I feel like I'm doing something to serve my own needs first, that does make me feel much healthier mentally and spiritually. So as a woman, as a business owner, as a wife, as a daughter, as a friend, I used to think that I could fill everybody else's cup and for me still show up polished, but that's not the case. No one wants a burnt out version of Cece. And I don't want to be that version either because that's one, not effective. It's not efficient and just it's not feasible to keep doing that and expecting an amazing result. You might get a subpar result, but to really be efficient and high quality, given quality, whether it's care or providing quality work, you need to make sure you're setting your own boundaries. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm just hoping that I give you a little bit of help or insightfulness into that everybody struggles with that. And I'm definitely one that has struggled with that my whole life. So, but maintaining boundaries really is maintaining your peace. So what does self-care actually look like for me now? Just like when I tell my patients it's a marathon, not a sprint, self-care actually looks like, for me, it's like the little things. All these little things add up to impactful results. It's truly what I preach and what I believe in. And some daily non-negotiables, we'll call it. We get that from Dan Martell. Coaching sessions with Dan Martell has also helped a lot. But some non-negotiables for me are reading a chapter of a book. Sometimes it's not always a business or a self-help book. Sometimes it's just pure entertainment. But I do think that getting lost in somebody else's story, whether it is self-help or just a fiction book, is so helpful. I could read a fiction book so much easier than I can read a business or a self-help book. I mean, it's just way more entertaining for me. So at nighttime, when I try to shut my brain off, I'll just even read 10 pages. Sometimes if it's a rough day, okay, try to get to 5. But before you know it, you're going through that motion and you're like, oh, I've read a whole chapter, or, oh, I've read actually 2 chapters. Plus, it's way healthier to fall asleep to read in the book rather than turning on the TV or looking at your phone and scrolling, called doom scrolling. We can get into the habit of that. And that's not healthy either, because before you know it, an hour's passed and you're still wide awake. So I really try to get out the Kindle and just read a few pages of a book every night. The other non-negotiable for me is moving my body. On days where I'm not weight training, I am trying to just go to the gym, or I do just go to the gym and just walk. Even just walking for 30 minutes, it doesn't have to be crazy intense on incline 9. Like I'm just walking either no incline or on 1% at a fast pace, listening to either music that I like or a business podcast, depending on my mood. But again, no pressure either way. Like I think we put so much pressure on ourselves that we have to be habit stacking, which I do love to do. But sometimes we're just always not in the mental space for that. Like sometimes we need to allow us to have space to just relax, and that's going to help us give back and be a better person maybe the next day. So if I'm not in the mood for it, I'm just going to listen to music and take a walk. If I'm in the mood for it, then I'm going to maybe walk more aggressively, and I'm going to listen to a business podcast or listen to a Michael Todd serum. Oh my God. Gabby says serum all the time. Gabby calls sermons serums, and now she's got me saying it. Sermon. It's a Gabbyism. But okay, so another non-negotiable would also be going back to therapy. So now I have been talking to my therapist again. There's no shame in my game, like saying that. It just helps keep me in check to get better at creating those boundaries, especially when I feel like I'm slipping. Definitely even when I think like, I don't need it, I go and I learn something. I take notes and then I reflect back on those notes. And the notes I just keep in my iPhone on my notes section. I label the therapy session and I label the date, and I have like a folder of therapy notes, and I have a folder of Dan Martell notes, and I have a folder of podcast notes. And it doesn't always have to be a huge context behind it, but I'll just find a quote or something that really resonated with me, reread it, and that can just shift my perspective on the day or the situation. Because oftentimes we think, well, I'll remember it, but for me, writing it down and then looking back on it, that really helps me. Another non-negotiable is, or something that's really helped me practice self-care, is, we mentioned therapy, we mentioned moving my body. A habit is weight training 3 times a week. That's definitely accelerated my mental capacity in self-care, even on days where I don't want to go, or I normally, if I didn't have that appointment book, that I probably wouldn't have worked out, or wouldn't have worked out nearly half as efficient as I do. Knowing that somebody is waiting on me, that I'm a holding myself accountable to go and meet that person and commit to that appointment has done wonders. I mean, I've never regretted a workout. Have you? No, you just tell yourself, okay, I'll just start moving or I'll just go. And you end up being so thankful that you did it and happy. And it just sets the day up for success. Just for me, gives me more energy throughout the day and definitely a better headspace, because especially what I've learned is that weight training is all about the mental toughness and pushing yourself and pushing your body to beyond its limits. But we often think, and then what I've learned is that you think your body wants to give out, but it's actually your mind that takes you that step further. So it definitely has equipped me with better mental toughness for business, personal, just for life in general. A few other self-care improvements, in skincare that works for me, simplifying the skincare regimen. And there's nothing wrong with doing a lot of different steps for skincare. But for me, I started to have rosacea flaring, so I really had to cut back on what I was using, unfortunately. And some things that I love to use, like vitamin C or retinol, really flare my rosacea. So I really had to simplify to a much simpler routine that doesn't have overwhelming steps, but it's okay that is the case. Just focusing on what works better and what works the most. And I think just relieving that pressure of like, oh, it has to be this big thing when it doesn't have to be that big thing. Not checking emails or Instagram past, the goal is 8 p.m. The cutoff is definitely 9 p.m. And that has helped a lot, because whatever is going on can definitely wait until tomorrow. And sometimes you do get that email or text that really fires up the cortisol for the night. Then you can't sleep. Then you lose your focus. You were relaxed and now you're all anxious and geared up, when that would have just been better off dealing with in the morning. And it's just better off left unread, right? Like some things are better off left off unsaid. Some things are better off left unread. And that's okay to deal with it the next day. That's what another day is for. So not checking emails or texts past 8 p.m. Cutoff is definitely 9 p.m. So other small things that really help me feel like my best confident self mentally and physically is regular NAD and B12 injections. I have been doing B12 once a week for the past 5 years, and helps with energy, helps with brain fog, helps with metabolism. Whether it's placebo or not, it definitely helps me mentally get into that space where I have better energy and I'm able to function better. And then the addition of NAD to help accelerate that process has been phenomenal, and I can't recommend it enough. Of course, there's the afternoon coffee, which do I really need? No, but do I love? Yes. And I guess you could say that's like my guilty pleasure, but that definitely helps make me feel good. So it's not like I'm drinking a coffee with like tons of sugar and cream. It's pretty much just black or a splash of almond milk, but I genuinely enjoy it. So it's just like the little things like that. I think like listening to like good music, or just doing small things that just make you feel like happy during that moment. And then there's the confidence connection. So the more you take care of yourself, that's where confidence comes from. So you take care of yourself, you feel better about yourself, you're doing something that's good for you and only you, which makes you a better wife, daughter, sister, mother, friend, right? You're better outwards towards all of these people, and you're better at work, you're better at home, you're less irritated because you know that you're taking care of you. But also, when we create that confidence, it helps us stop asking permission to take up space. And when we are confident, we do take up space. And that's what aesthetics and my business is all about, is feeling like your best self and taking up the space that you deserve and not making yourself small for others. All right, so a few quick current CC obsessions for self-care. Let's see. Current product, I'm obsessed with the face card under eye patches, keeping those in the fridge and putting them on, especially if you're tired or traveling or hungover or just really stressed and run down. or just, like when you're getting ready to go out at night, putting on those under eye patches. And when they're in the fridge, they feel so good and they help tighten up your under eye, help with puffiness, and help with they're filled with hyaluronic acid. So it helps with any dry skin or crepiness under the eyes. So love those. I am also have been replacing the triple lipid with the intensive repair moisturizer, which I love because you can just keep it in the drawer. You don't have to take it out to squeeze it. So I'm always moving so fast. You can just literally pump it in the place in the drawer. You don't have to take it out. And also feels very creamy and luxurious, just like triple lipid. So I really like that product. And then the sunscreen I used when I was away recently, the medical grade sunscreen. Oh my God. I didn't even have to reapply it. It looks like it's not going to blend into the skin, but then you put it on and it blends in perfectly and no burn, nothing on my face. So that was really effective to help protect me against the sun. And that was in Florida too. Those are my products that I'm really enjoying right now. On the habit that I've been doing weight training 3 times a week, even when the days that I feel like I really could, oh my God, not go today, never regret it. Always makes my day that much better and more efficient. The podcast that I've been loving is the Skinny Confidential. And her and her husband, Michael, I've been listening to them for a while, but they really embody self-care at a high capacity level and really have I really admire their values. They really focus on high capacity, self-growth, and leveling up. And their podcast really, I resonate with either business or professionally. So check that out if you haven't listened to that. And a book that I'm reading it's called Get a Grip, which is about what we call EOS, or an entrepreneurial operating system. So how to function better as a team, how to nail down your vision, working and reading that right now. So it's good because it's a business book, but it tells a story, so it's easier to read. If this episode resonated with you, check us out on YouTube, listen to us on Spotify, send me a DM and tell me what really resonated with you the most. Tell me what you want to hear more of. Tell me anything, ask me any questions. Just let me know that you listened to the episode and what you loved about it. You can find us at Coffee Talks Podcast on Instagram. You can find us on YouTube, Coffee Talks Podcast. You can find me on Instagram at Vain by CC, CICI. And you can find my wife at Gabrielle Russo Real Estate or Gabrielle Russo Realty. You can find her through me. So let us know, catch us on the next episode and drop a comment.